All right, shalom, shalom, family. Hopefully, everyone is doing wonderful today. I want to make this video, and it's not a direct attack on anybody, but I really want us to really, I want to really bring this full circle. Looking at this solar eclipse and looking at videos that's on social media, it just really got me to thinking about a lot of things that I think we overlook, and I'm going to try to connect these principles and these concepts because the way the Most High work, everything is practical. Like I said, I was watching this gentleman. He was, I made a response to his video. He's saying that, Easter and all that, Christmas and all that is not pagan in origin, and it's okay for them to celebrate it. Even to the point where I saw one guy say that even eating pork was, again, the Most High, all praise the Most High, He didn't give me up to have a reprobate mind. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. I have a lot of growing still to do within myself. But it's weird to see these people, and they try to use the Bible, and they come from these so many angles, man. That's really, when you plug the principles in it, the principles don't even line up. Even if you don't believe in the law, right? The principles just, you can't run away from it because they are practical, right? The principles are practical. So anyway, let me start off with this here, right? Like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm not judging anybody. I have a lot of growing myself to do. I don't know everything. But hopefully the things that I do know, that I share, will help those that are weak in the faith, because people like that are making these videos, eating anything they want to eat and celebrating all these pagan rituals, are really a stumbling block for the people that are weak in the faith. So we know right about now that most of us know that this celestial event that's happening April 8th, this solar eclipse, we know that's not only a sign of the covenant that the Most High gave to our ancestors, and the timing, we know how prophetic it is, right? We know how powerful it is. But even for us that knows this, right, I want you guys to understand this principle. Just like the Most High is remembering His covenant, and we see this, the same thing we supposed to actually understand, what we supposed to remember about the covenant in doing and following His instructions, right? So because the principles work both ways. He remember His oath and His promise, and we'll be thanking ourselves, and so we're coming back and we're remembering the oath that He gave to our forefathers, right? So anyway, looking at these gentlemen, I've heard people and my family members that refuse to acknowledge this covenant, who we are as a people. They'll run to either who they call Jesus ignorantly, or they'll say, well, even with Father Abram, they'll say, well, Abram was not an Israelite, but he was the father of the faith, and I'm a descendant of the father of the faith. But it's impossible. It's impossible. I'll explain why I say that. Just look at these principles. Principles are not law, but the principles still connect us back to the law and connect us back to the Most High's His covenant. But the Most High called Abram out of his countrymen, called him out of his country, right? Called him from out of the land where he was, the land of his birth. Called him from amongst his family members, his mother's father, his kinsmen, his land, right? And Abram left, and the Most High said, I'm going to make you a nation of many. So he followed with the Most High. He had faith. He followed with the Most High instructions. Now these same people say they believe, in the Most High, or they're descendants of the father of the faith. But they're not realizing, like I said before, even with our people that know who we are, Yeshua came to bear witness against our people, man, and we're not getting this. And Yeshua doing the same thing with in the so-called New Testament to these people. They don't even get it. That's why He said, verily, say to those that come to me and say, Lord, 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 or Adonai, I've cast out even demons in your name. And He's like, be gone. I've never even knew you. Because remember, he said, for those that will not forsake mother and father and brother and sister and so on and so forth, land is not worthy of my love. They're not worthy of my love. And they're not getting this because this is what forefather Abram did before he became a nation, before he made a nation out of Abram. He called him from out amongst people that celebrated pagan rituals, his family, right? And he had faith and he followed. So if you're not, how can you be a descendant of the father of the faith when you're not willing to separate yourself from the pagan rituals and the things that don't exalt the Most High? That's what these people are not getting, man. But anyway, just looking at those principles, right? And even for our people that we know who we are. Again, like I said, that there's another aspect of this covenant that we have to get. It's not just about the Most High remembering His covenant, but we remembering our promise because our forefathers agreed to this covenant, right? And we're supposed to be a nation of kings and priests. But when we're just focusing on, the transatlantic slave trade and to point the people back to who we are, that's not a flex. That's not a flex. Again, the transatlantic slave trade is an identifying marker, but it's not a flex. We're supposed to be a kingdom of priests. We're supposed to be a royal priesthood. That is the flex, right? That's the flex. The people supposed to the nation's supposed to look at us and come to us, right? We're supposed to minister unto the nations, and this is why I say the principles are going to line up because your captivity is not just about punishment. Like I said in one of the previous videos, our captivity was also a place of refuge because remember our ancestors had innocent blood on their hand, right? And again, being that we were supposed to be a nation of kings and priests, since we wanted to follow the nation, this is how the Most High is dealing with that. He put us into captivity. He allowed us to go into captivity. And once we come back to understanding who we are, we become this royal priesthood where the nations look at us, and this is how they get, this is how they get not only the word of the Most High and follow the teachings and the lessons, but they get a blessing, right? Everything's go back full circle. But anyway, like I was saying, family, like it's not a flex. It's not a flex. And a lot of our people still on that. They're looking at judgment, but it's like the Most High is not even finished with us because again, just like He got rid of a certain generation in the wilderness, He had to walk them around for 40 years. It's the same thing with our people doing the transatlantic slave trade. You don't think He realized these people had a stony heart? Which again, when you see the way a lot of our people act today, they still have that stony heart. Just like when our forefather Moses gave our people the commandments in the wilderness. He gave them, the tablets of stone. They had a stony heart. And that's how the Most High had it. That's why the Most High had to send His Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, in the flesh to give you a fleshy heart. But you still have that stony heart. You know what I'm saying? Again, how you deal with the Gentiles. But again, I'm not saying that we're supposed to be kissing up these people. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, there's a righteous judgment. But we have to put away the wickedness again in the place of refuge. Let this sink in. In the place of refuge, you're supposed to put away the wickedness amongst you. I kind of get the concept why a lot of the guys have these camps. Don't get me wrong. I get it. It makes sense. But at the same time, what's going to be the Achilles heel for a lot of these guys? They're not realizing that He didn't call us to go get camps. He didn't call us for that. He called us to build a nation, to be a nation of kings and priests. Because these guys will say, well, they'll tell our people in Christianity, the name of the Catholic Church and the Methodists and the Baptists and all that won't be on the kingdom, but neither will your name. The name of your organization will not be on it either. So again, these concepts, these principles don't change. But if you try to tell it to these guys, they're gonna argue, they're gonna debate instead of saying, oh, you know what? That is true. That's a principle and a concept that we're overlooking. We're missing. Now there's one organization, and I'm not here to put nobody on blast, but that's one organization, and I respect those brothers. They say, they tell all their members, nah, look, I don't have a heaven and hell to put you in. We're all contending for the faith. You know what I'm saying? But that's the spirit. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully these brothers have the spirit where anybody can fellowship with them, because that's the way it's supposed to be. We should be able to fellowship in any organization we want to, if we're right in righteousness, right? but not exalting one man a certain group of men over. Again, we appoint leaders and all that, but leaders over all Israel, not just over an organization, but there's a rite of passage, you know, the way you carry yourself, not just from not an organization, but from a cultural and a custom and a community standpoint, you know. But anyway, I digress. But it begin to all make sense, family. Begin to all make sense, especially when understanding that we allowed the Most High to be taken out of our lives, right? We took our eyes off the Most High. Just like when we look at our families, you know what I'm saying? You find it weird that Israel was compared to a comely and beautiful lady, you know, and then now she become a harlot, right? She become a whore. You know, and a lot of women gonna get mad what I'm saying, but again, you know, if you look at yourself, you know, our sisters jumping from man to man or not having a man in the family. When statistics show that again, now I'm talking about dealing with righteous men. I'm not talking about dealing with wicked Negroes, but dealing with righteous men. You know, a righteous man. You know, not based upon how much money he make, but you know his morals, his character, his love for the Most High and his people and his family and stuff like that. You know, not about the money, but him willing to be out there and sacrifice for his family, for his kinsmen and stuff like that. But anyway, you know, you find it that the statistics says that 80% of the imprisoned or come from single family households. I think it's something like 80%. But anyway, again, because there's no man in the house. Look at us as a nation. We didn't have the Most High into our hearts, into our lives. Again, I just look at the principles, man. I'm just looking at the principles, you know. But like I said, you know, looking at this, even looking at the transatlantic slave trade, you know, like I said, he had to walk out family members around the wilderness for 40 years to get rid of that generation. And the same thing again with the transatlantic slave trade. Had to get rid of that generation. I mean, again, you know, when you look at the principle, the Most High knew that stony heart and that evilness was still in our people. You know, again, we know that the adversary went a little far and he's going to be judged for that. But at the same time, how did we get here? It goes back to what I'm saying. We got here because of the evilness in our heart. And a lot of us still have that stony evilness in our heart. And going back to the principle, the Most High, we made a covenant. Our ancestors made a covenant with the Most High that we shall be a nation of kings and priests. So we can't keep focusing on what got us here as far as magnifying that, but we should be magnifying the fact that we are a nation of kings and priests is what I'm getting at. So understanding this celestial event, this solar eclipse, you know, and understanding that the prophetic nature of it, we should be also knowing that there's a side that we have to make sure that we are honoring because of the oath that our forefathers, our parents, had with the Most High in the wilderness. And again, there's more steps that we have to take, and we're going to have to take as for this following these high holy days and things of that nature. But again, I just wanted to share that right fast, family. Just something that was on my heart. So anyway, with that being said, family, as usual, peace, love, shalom.